Hello, welcome to Site Modeling and Non-Corridor Modeling for Open Roads Designer Connect Edition. The intent of this course is to demonstrate how to model civil elements that are typically found outside of your roadway corridor. Elements such as civil sites, building pads, parking lots, ponds, infield grading, bridge abutment grading, etc. Things that aren't typically actually on the roadway corridor, but maybe an extension of or outside of the roadway corridor. So in this course, we're going to demonstrate how to create 3D models and terrains using fundamental site modeling and non-corridor techniques. We'll utilize the horizontal and vertical geometry tools, along with linear templates and terrain modeling tools throughout this course. The first part of the course, you're going to learn how to model a cell tower site. It's made up of a tower pad, a yard, and a driveway. And then the second part of the course, we're going to take a look at how to model an infield pond between corridors. So some of the things that we're going to learn about are designing and modeling a simple site, modeling a pond between corridors. We're going to learn how to assign elevation to horizontal geometric elements. We'll learn how to drape elements relative to the existing ground terrain. We'll take a look at projecting slopes from and to elements. We'll take a look at how to use linear templates for grading. And then finally, we'll create some terrain models from 2D and 3D elements, and then we'll also learn how to create combined terrain models. In this exercise, we're going to take a look at creating the cell tower site. We're going to first create the cell tower pad, and then we're going to create the cell tower yard. So to begin, we must first select our workspace and our work set. So we're going to be using the Training and Examples workspace. So I'm going to go up to Workspace and select Training and Examples. And for our work set, I'm going to select Training Imperial. And when you do this, this just sets up all the standards that we need, our feature definitions, our levels, our colors, all that good stuff that we need for this course. And I already have a 2D cell tower site layout drawing created. So we're going to open that drawing first, and that's what we're going to use as the basis for our design. So we'll go over to Browse. We're going to go to Site Modeling and Non-Corridor Modeling. We're going to go down to Grading Cell Tower Site. We're going to click Open to open the cell tower site layout. So once the drawing opens, you'll see I have three separate views configured here for you. I have the 2D layout over here that has the cell tower layout. I have a 3D view over here in view number 2, and I also have a profile view configured down here in view number 4. So we'll be using all three of these views as we progress through this course. If we come over here into view 1 and review our cell tower layout, you can see I already have some civil geometry elements created. And this particular element here is our cell tower pad. This is where the cell tower is going to be constructed on. And then over here I have the cell tower yard, and this is just going to be a gravel area here. And then I also have a gravel drive that leads into the cell tower yard. And this is also defined with civil geometry. So you can see I have all these 2D civil geometry elements have already been created for you. Now I've also created some reference alignments that you can use for cutting cross sections or profiles through your site. And you can see I have an alignment here that's called line X, and I also have an alignment over here called line Y, and those are just for reference in case you need to cut cross sections to review your site. So what we're going to do first is we need to assign elevation and create a profile for our tower pad. And then once we assign elevation and create a profile for our tower pad, we're going to project slopes out in all directions at like a -1% slope so that we can get the profile and elevation of the perimeter of our tower yard. So that's what we're going to do these next few steps here. So first, let's go and create the profile for the tower pad. And we're going to create the profile by first draping it onto the existing ground and then finding the highest point along the existing ground and then raising it up 4 feet. So that's what we want to accomplish when we go to create the profile for this tower pad. And we're going to use the geometry tools to do this. So we're going to use the vertical geometry tools to assign a profile to this tower pad. So we're going to go up to Geometry. We're going to have to go to Profile Creation, and you'll see there's a tool there called Profile from Surface. And this basically allows you to drape an element onto the surface and then make adjustments to it. So it could either drape onto an existing terrain, and then it can be adjusted. You can raise it up or down or however you want it. In our particular case, we want to raise it up 4 feet. So I want to set my feature definition for my profile that's going to get created for this tower pad. So I want to make sure you go over to your feature definitions here, make sure you set tower pad. I want to give it a name and call it tower pad so it matches the name of the horizontal geometry that I've created. Now it's going to prompt you to locate your first element to profile. So we're going to come over here and select the tower pad, left click. It's going to prompt you to locate next element. So we're going to right click. We just have one element to worry about. And then it's going to prompt you to locate your reference surface. In our case, we're just going to be using the active terrain model. So we're just going to right click to accept that. And then the start distance, we can just press Alt on the keyboard to lock in the starting station, and then press Alt on the keyboard to lock in the ending station. And then for point selection, we want it to analyze all the points around the perimeter of the tower pad for adjustment. So we're going to say adjust all, or point selection all points. And then for the profile adjustment, we want it to find the maximum elevation along the existing ground and then make the adjustment. So we're going to set this for maximum. We also have options for none and minimum as well. So we're going to set this for maximum. Arrow left click to accept. Draping option we can set to triangles. We also have an option for break lines. We're going to do triangles in this case, so we're going to left click to accept that. Our horizontal offset, we have an option to offset from the tower pad. We're just going to use 0, so key in 0 and press enter to lock in the value. Left click to accept. And vertical offset, this is where we want to specify vertically how high above the existing ground we want to go. So we want to go 4 feet above the existing ground line. So we're going to key in 4, press enter to lock in the value, and then left click to accept. And then you'll notice down here in the profile view that a profile was drawn and created and displayed. And this is the profile of the tower pad based on the settings that we set in the tool here. So if we come down here and we select the profile, we'll notice it has the 4-foot vertical adjustment value that we used. And again, it's creating this profile by analyzing the existing ground, finding the highest point, and then making the adjustment of 4 feet above that highest point. Now, at this point, we don't have anything drawn in 3D, so we want to display this in 3D in our 3D model over here. And to make that happen, we can do one of two things. We could go up to Set Active Profile and set this as our active profile, and it'll display it over here. Or we can simply select it, hover our cursor over it for a little bit, and then choose the Set as Active Profile here. So either button will give you the same result. So we'll click on this, and that will display it in the 3D model. So now we have a 3D feature in the 3D model view. So there's our tower pad, and all this is rules based. So if you need to change this for whatever reason, if we need to adjust this profile, we can simply click on the dynamic text here. If we need to change this to say 3, we can key in 3, and that would lower the pad, and it also lowers the profile. So all this is rules based. You need to keep that in mind when you're working with the civil geometry elements. So let me undo that real quick and get back to the 4. And once the tower pad profile has been created, you can also review the properties, and any profile adjustments can be made by reviewing the properties. So if we go and we select the profile and we go into the properties tool here, you can see the settings and the rules that we use to create this particular profile for the tower pad. So if you need to make adjustments, you can simply key them in here and the profile will be adjusted.